I thank the representative of Myanmar for his briefing. I now give the floor to the representative of Somalia.
Mr. President, thank you for giving me the floor and on convening on this opening debate on children and armed conflict. I would like to thank first Ms. Leila Zarouki, Special Representative for the Secretary General for the Children and Armed Conflict, Mr. Harvey Latsus, Under Secretary General for Peacekeeping Operations, Ms. Yoka Brands, Deputy Executive Director of UNICEF, and Mr. Forrest Whitaker, Special Envoy for Peace and Reconciliation of UNESCO, as well as our sister Sandra Uringiyamana for all of them for their remarks previously. Mr. President, the Somali federal government commends the effort of SRSG for Children and Armed Conflict, Ms. Zarouki, and the resilient system of child protection built by the Security Council, which are now being implemented in Somalia with the Somali federal government. Somalia is firmly committed to the protection of children in armed conflict. SRSG Ms. Zarouki recently visited Somalia and during that visit met with the President and Prime Minister of Somalia. The President of Somalia, His Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, renewed Somalia's commitment to take concrete steps to move forward on the implementation of 2 action plans signed in 2012 to end recruitment and use as well as killing and maiming of children by armed forces. The Somali federal government also strongly reiterates Somalia's commitment to achieve the objectives of the Children Not Soldiers campaign and take all concrete measures to end and prevent child recruitment by any forces in Somalia. We also reaffirm Somalia's willingness to be the next campaign country to be delisted. At the national level, the laws governing the armed forces, police, and security services categorically prohibit the recruitment of children in their ranks. The ongoing political, constitutional, and SSR process offer unique opportunities to join efforts and mark significant progress towards better protection and welfare of children after 25 years of conflict that deeply affected the people of Somalia. The Somali federal government welcomes the support of the United Nations, in particular UNSOM and UNICEF, to the government institutions to facilitate the implementation of the signed action plan. Highlight steps taken towards the compliance of the action plan in particular are: on May, Child Protection Unit within the Somali National Army, Minister of Defense, was created consisting of members from militaries and civilians to coordinate activities of the action plans at headquarter level and mainstream child protection in policies and activities of the Somali National Army and across government institutions. The government of Somalia will soon appoint focal points at the sector level. The government adopted standard operating procedure for the handover of children separated from armed groups in March 2014. The government welcomes the joint screening of the troops and new recruits which just resumed and will continue. The mobile screening comprising representatives from the Somali National Army, the United Nations, AMISOM, and the European Training Team was established on 14th May this year. The mobile screening team undertook systematic screening of the Somali National Army Forces units, including the Somali National Army and the Somali Police Force. For the separation of children as part of the activities contained in the signed action plan, on 29 June, 250 Somali National Army soldiers were screened at Jazeera Training Center in Mogadishu. In addition, about 900 new recruits were screened. No child was found among the soldiers. Somalia is committed to strengthen child protection by expediting the ratification process of the Convention on the Right of the Child and its additional protocols on the involvement of children in armed conflict. The policy will be implemented based on the African Charter on the Right and Welfare of the Child. Mr. President, however, we learned in a protracted civil war, the first casualties are hope, culture, values, principle, dignity, and integrity. Today, Somalia stands on healing, reviving, and repairing all the factors that had been affected by the protracted civil war, so that our children, who are our future, should learn from our mistakes, and we must provide them the environment to allow them to reach their potential and make sure that they and us are not defined by the horrors of civil wars, but defined by the speed in which we are overcoming them. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of Somalia for his statement.